everyone. I want to welcome you to Author Spotlight, where you get to know the author and support the author. Today we have Shawaun Tomease Jones. She is a native of Richmond, Virginia. She is a mother of four, an author, travel broker, podcaster, and speaker. She spends a lot of her time with her family, coaching and helping others, and traveling, and just being around nature. Ooh, I love nature too. She loves journaling her ideas, writing, and creating various forms of visual art. She enjoys finding innovative ways to express her inner creativity and style. Shawan hopes to inspire her readers to fulfill and achieve their goals and dreams no matter their age or stage in life. By learning to embrace the past, she has opened the door to healing and now walking in pure authenticity. She currently resides in Houston, Texas, with three of her children. I want to welcome you, Shawan Tomease Jones, to Author
Thank you.
Spotlight. And we're going to
Thank
learn
you.
more. No problem. We're going to learn more about your book, okay? So let's first start off by you introducing us to the name of your book and just giving us a summary of it.
Sure. It's entitled God Why Me? How I Survived Life's Trials with Grace, Music, and Life Changing Affirmations. And the book itself chronicles my life from my childhood in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and coming back to Richmond, Virginia, and a lot of the ups and downs that went along with that. Uh, gosh, it just shows so much of the maturity and growth that I've had with dealing with a lot of traumatic experiences and a lot of family dysfunction. So I definitely wanted my readers to be able to kind of walk along the journey with me and just explore life from my point of view during that time.
Oh, wow. So, with your experiences, what is one that sticks out to you that has been most impactful in your life, would you say?
Ooh, the most impact.
Where it
It
made you change,
it
change
may
someone
seem
else.
it may seem really intense, but there's a part in the story that I speak about me discovering my mother's drug addiction. And I was about maybe 5 or 6 when I actually saw her shooting up. And very traumatic, I would say, for a child, for any child to see. But at that age, you just don't know what to believe or even how to fathom seeing something like that. Although, I was in that position, honestly, it just made me want to protect my mom even the more. So I think that's where our roles shifted. And I became more like the parent, and she was more like the child because I started to question where she was. If she was out late, I would question why she would be around certain people, knowing that they were bad people. Um, and it was almost like she would just succumb somewhat to my rants. So I think that was really the beginning that our roles shifted and we became more like friends instead of mother and daughter.
Wow. There's a lot of stories out there that's similar when it comes to the mother daughter dynamic. So it's good to kind of see the different ways, the different stories out there because, women and mothers, they can kind of relate to how that may have affected their daughter and how the relationship with, between the mother and daughter can be a little fractured because of it. So thank you for sharing that. I also want to just find out what was the purpose behind writing this book for you.
Well, the purpose actually for me was a healing for healing purposes. Um, I had gone through a really major health scare, and I was diagnosed with a stage four type of cancer called nasopharyngeal carcinoma, where I actually had a tumor in my nasal passage. And upon becoming cancer free, I really started to understand why I was in that situation in the first place and realized and understood that a lot of the unresolved hurt, anger, resentment, trauma that I had experienced in my childhood that that helped to promote the toxicity in my body. So with that, I went on a major spiritual journey for like 13 weeks, just really working to resolve and get to the root of a lot of the pain that I had been holding on to and begin to release it. As soon as I started releasing, it was like the story started coming out like water, like running water. Um, so I was just write and write and write until I ended up writing like the first 10 chapters in 2 months. So it was definitely very therapeutic for me. But it really allowed me to understand why certain things happened, why some people treated me the way that they did. It was almost like I had a major introspection, and I was able to really look at the people and how they were affected or how certain things in their lives happened. And it really made me understand the adage that people say all the time that hurt people hurt people. And that was a lot of what was attributed, in my family. Everyone had been hurt in their own way, but no one ever really resolved that pain. So they just ended up bleeding on me and everybody else. So, like I said, now that I'm in a place where I can really understand that more and I'm able to recognize it, it's my job, I feel, to be able to teach other people to recognize the signs, to be able to process the hurt, because there are a lot of people that are hurting, due to trauma. And it's time we get to a point where we just release it and learn to grow from it.
I love that. I love that. I love that you're open about the things that you have experienced and as well as showing others the steps that you took in that healing process. I do want to ask, with you being able to have the health experience that you had and that opening up your journey into healing, has it made it easier or harder for you to address other traumas in your life?
Actually, no, it's made it a lot easier for me. I feel I feel like now that I've gotten to a place where I've somewhat unmuted myself, it's allowed me to be a lot more open with people and more transparent about my life. I don't feel any hesitation whatsoever about talking about it. Um, Honestly, it helps me to understand that now I really have healed from it because there's no emotional attachment attached to it anymore. Like I don't have the anger or I don't have the sadness or things of that nature. It's as if I can just talk about it in a regular conversation. So for me, that's big. That is
Wow.
huge for me. But it has helped to make it a lot easier to be able to convey it to other people in conversation.
Okay. And then I have another one that that usually I like to get feedback on when it comes to going through that healing journey, and there may be things that happen in your childhood where other people were a part of that trauma, and now you're coming out and you're talking about it so that you can be free from it. Have you seen people more in your family open to you expressing yourself and being honest and standing in your truth, or has it been the opposite?
Well, I pretty much prepped my family ahead of time while I was writing this because one thing I didn't want to do, I didn't want to offend anyone by, giving my truth. But at the same time, I had to get them to understand that at the end of the day, this is still my truth. Whether you believe it, whether you agree with it or not. And I needed to do this for me. A lot of my family was very receptive. Being that I am the oldest of my siblings, a lot of this they don't know. Um, they weren't at an age of remembrance. So it comes somewhat at a great shock to them. But at the same time, it painted a picture that really allowed them to see things from a different point of view. I had my sister that's under me to read the book, and she's read it fully. And at first, she said, this was kind of hard to read because automatically it puts a different light on or sheds a different light on certain people in our family. And she said, I just didn't know that. I don't, she said, I've never seen that. And I said, yeah, you know. But one thing she said was, I really appreciate you telling your story. She said, and honestly, I apologize that you even went through that. Now, mind you, she didn't have to say that, but for her to do that, that was like really major for me because she was able to withdraw from the fact that, yeah, this is my family, but at the end of the day, this was a child that saw all of this stuff. So she basically apologized to the little girl. And to me, that was a beautiful thing. That was a beautiful and mature thing. So at this point, she has a whole new, perspective and appreciation for me writing the book. And it has allowed her to understand a lot of the mistakes or even the choices that she's made in life. And now she understands that a lot of those things have been generational. When you don't really understand or know where your family started or how certain things began, you will unconsciously repeat some of the same habits, good or bad. And a lot of my family did, unknowingly. So I think this book really opens up and sheds a lot of light on those generational habits and those generational curses so it can be broken.
Wow, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And that was like very mature and very just empathetic, someone being empathetic to your story. So I'm glad that you were able to have her there to, like you say, apologize to that child. Because sometimes,
Yeah,
when you're going through your journey, it's the child that you revert back to, and that you
correct.
have to kind of go through the process of those different emotions. So that was very like big of her to do that. So I do want to ask, who would you say this book is geared towards, or who did you write this book like knowing that you would be telling your story, who did you hope this book would help?
Well, honestly, there's a vast audience that can appeal to it, but ultimately the book really is to the little girl or to the young woman that did not value herself, did not value her talents, did not value her worth, and allowed life and its circumstances to have her to become silent. You know, this book is for other women who have experienced that to now come forth and be bold and to be outspoken. Your story, no matter how hurtful or how joyful it is, it deserves to be heard. It deserves to be told. And I felt it was important that other women and young women alike would be able to see some of the things that I inadvertently, had to experience. Some of those things were, again, not due to my own choice, but how I was able to overcome those things. A lot of times, like I said, people, they see you now and they see how you've overcome this or you progressed this, but they don't understand the magnitude of what you've had to overcome. And this book really highlights a lot of that. And of course, volume 2, when that comes out, it'll be a continuation, but it will lead up to my present day. But I really wanted, again, people to be able to resonate with that. And like I said, young women and women alike, because there's so many of us that will grow silent and not allow our voice to be heard. So this is an opportunity for them to, find the strength to be loud.
I
So,
love that. I love that. That's very important. I do want to ask, how are you getting your book out to those women or those young women? How are you marketing your book out in the marketplace?
well, right now I am developing a book coaching and publishing company as well. So I've got my hands really full, but since I've recently moved here to Houston, I've been connecting with a lot of the different people in the literary world here, and especially a lot of the Black owned bookstores, and trying to get my book promoted there as well. I've connected with a lot of book clubs and literary clubs here in the area, and just really trying to network and market myself so that people will even know who I am, and then gravitate to the book that way. Because I'm not really known by people, I've got to get myself out there to become known. And once people are familiar with who I am, then of course the book and everything that the messages that are behind the book, they'll be more, open and receptive to, taking that in. So I've really been working on just, networking and getting myself out there and having people to know who Shawaun Tomease Jones is.
I love that. And I love that you added like a different piece because a lot of times people are just marketing online or in person. But I love that you said you're looking at the local bookstores, the book, literary clubs, the even book, what do they call them? Book clubs,
Yes,
right? So that's when you can network with different people who love to read and they know other people who love to read. So I
exactly.
think that's important as well. So thank you for bringing that up. So I do want to ask you, what are some of your upcoming projects that you want to talk about that we should look forward to?
Well, like I said, I am working on the Lotus Vision book coaching and publishing company right now. So we are in the beginning stages of that. With this, I definitely, like I said, wanted to allow other people to be able to tell their story. And a lot of times, a lot of authors or upcoming authors, they are unaware as to the steps in which it takes to be able to write a book or to convey their message. So what I would like to do is be able to help them through a structured plan to create that way in which they can, create their book or create their story. One thing I definitely want to also convey is a lot of people think that, oh, if I write a book, it's got to be super long. No, it doesn't really have to be. It's really up to you and how you want to present or convey that information. So even if it starts off with something small, like an ebook, that's still something that's credible, just as if it were a long novel. So I definitely want to get that message out to people as well. It doesn't matter how large or how small your book is. It's about providing pertinent information that is going to be able to help or to assist others in however which way you can, get that across. I am again just networking with a lot of different businesses here in the Houston area. I will be attending the upcoming. I think it's like author's alley here in Houston. Jada Pinkett Smith is promoting her book Worthy. So she's having like an open one-on-one dialogue with like a meet the author. So I'm going to meet her, and hopefully I can be able to introduce myself and maybe introduce myself to some other authors that are there as well, and that would be an awesome way to be able to network, not just for my book, but for just to be a part of the literary world here. And the second part of the book, it is going to be entitled God, Why Not Me? And that should be coming out in December of this year. And then volume three will be out in 2024. So I'm working on that as well, along with a series of other books to follow. God has given me so many downloads on different books, and not just about my personal life. Some are nonfiction. I do have somewhat of a murder drama book that I'm writing. So I have like a lot of creative ideas in my head that I'm finally able to get out. And I'm just super excited for people to enjoy my work.
Oh, I'm excited about that. Right, right. Keep writing. I love it. And keep networking. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Now, how can we contact you? We want to get your books. We want to just DM you. We want to have a conversation. How do we contact you?
Yes. Well, to get the book, it is on Amazon right now. You can have the ebook, the paperback, or the hardback, or you can purchase it directly from my website, which is entitled thelotusvision.com. From there, it also has all of the other upcoming events that I'll be at. It also highlights some other things that I'm doing because I'm a podcaster as well on YouTube. It's entitled Shaking Up the Algorithm. So there's a few clips from our show on the website as well. You can reach me on the website. You can reach me at our business email, which is info@thelotusvision.com. I can also be reached on IG at the Lotus Vision or at Phoenix to Rise. Those are my two personal accounts. Also, I can be reached on Facebook at Shawaun Jones or thelotusvision.com as well.
Wow. Well, thank you. I will have all that information information so they will be able to click on it and go directly to
Yes.
your sites and things like that. So thank you for providing that.
No
Well,
problem.
this has been very informational. I'm definitely very appreciative of you giving us a little bit more details behind your book and being transparent about some of the things that you had to go through. It's very enlightening. It's very authentic, and it just gives us more of a better understanding of who you are and what you have and what you're talking about, right, in your book.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. But I do want to just thank you for coming on the author spotlight and letting us know who you are as an author. Thank you.
No, I'm honored. I'm honored to be a part of your platform. And I look forward to all that you're doing and all of your continued success as well.
Thank you so much. So, guys, I want you to go out and find out more about Shawaun Tomease Jones and what she's doing now and in the future. All of her information will be provided. So, support the author.
Yeah.
Again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this week's Author Spotlight. And until next time, bye.
Bye, everyone.